survives, and thank Sister Sharon Williams, attorney at law, professor at law now, for gracing us and helping us to understand this immigration issue in the United States and how it affects Belizeans. We now have another Belizean attorney based here, and he's no surprise here. I mean, you know,
good morning, Louis.
This is a good brother. Whenever I want to get some clarification on legal matters, I always go to him. Welcome, brother.
Thanks, Louis. Thanks for having me. Good morning, viewers and listeners of Mighty Cream organization. This is actually the heartbeat of the Creole community. And it's always a pleasure to be here, even if last minute notice.
Yes, yes.
I wanted, before I even distract my own self, to say to you and your colleagues who have been doing such a fabulous job in speaking to most of the young men who have gone astray and have fallen prey to the temptations that the other side of the society offers to young persons like them. Big respect, man, because every murder that is prevented is a huge victory, no? In the Christian religion, they say, one sinner who is saved, there is rejoicing in heaven.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have, despite the one or two sad situations that occur, we have seen a marked decrease, and we pray to the Almighty that that downward trend continues in our society.
Indeed, indeed.
We really need to make that the #1 priority,
Yeah.
and deal with this problem that we don't feel safe. We don't live in a society where we happy and laugh and can dance. I don't know when a business opened on the south side, because people are fearful, no?
Yeah.
And also because I'm hoping we could say something about the upcoming general elections and about the
Well,
side.
I got that on.
Yeah, okay, fine.
All right, but I want to go to that tragedy that took place last week at the Marian Jones Station, Marian Jones Stadium. And the young man who has been arrested has not been charged with murder. In fact, no one has been charged with the murder of Brandon Baptist. And though he had been charged with attempted murder and harm, etc., there's still the question mark as to who then will be charged with the murder of Brandon. And is the police having some problem establishing it as a murder, since the accused is saying it's self-defense?
Well, there has to be a murder for somebody to be charged. And the police, quite rightly, and it is the law of our country, that where a person has committed a homicide, where you have killed someone else, and you are saying, I felt I had no choice, I was under attack myself, I was fearful, and I therefore used the weapon I had, the police are not allowed on their own to charge such a person. The law is that the file goes to the Director of Public Prosecution, who have a battery of attorneys who are trained in the criminal law. Not only trained, they are fully experienced, they are familiar with looking at statements and at everything that is applicable, and arrive at a decision. Because I also want to mention this, I was with lawyers yesterday. You know, we are just beginning to understand in our society that when the police charge you and there's no evidence, and they still put you through getting arrested, going to Colby on remand, whether you go there on remand or not, and you go through a full trial and there's no evidence, you can't sue. People need to sue. I'm begging Belizeans, a way to make your society better is that when you are deprived of your liberty, or when your name is scandalized that you have taken part in such a thing, and
it's not true.
And it is absolutely not supported by evidence. It's easy to look on the television and say, oh, they're guilty in this and that, but no evidence. Please, if you want the society to be better. And let me segue and also say this. A number of persons were rounded up and put in jail for 90 days on the last state of emergency. It has nothing to do with gang. I mean, the society need to really understand that we all are against criminals and criminality. And when you start to say that, you have to pause a bit and ask yourself, what about the white-collar crime? What about those who rip off the taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars? What about when everything looks like illegal, but it's not only immoral, it is criminal what is done to siphon off large sums of monies into private pockets. Those monies are taxpayers' monies. And so...
Why is it so difficult to charge when it appears to be so evident at the base of the pyramid we cannot find convictions going up? Why? And I'm talking about 40 odd years. I'm not seeing anybody of any level of significance. I mean, ordinary people in society. Every so often we get a big man.
No, and then something happens. Yeah.
But those individuals where people know and believe are involved in white-collar crime, but nobody touches them.
Well, like I was saying, there has to be evidence, there has to be proof. I come to your studio trying to fight the traffic, so I diverted down the Chetamal Street. And by the way, let me also segue from segue. The streets of Belize City are breaking up. It's a painful experience to ride your bike and drive your vehicle. The streets of Belize City in a mess. I mean, we're not trying to blame nobody. We did go through a period of very, very heavy rains. But man, Belize City broke up, and then the drains are not properly cleaned out, and the abandoned yards are overgrown. We can't continue to live like this. But let me come back to Chetamal Street. There is a huge building there. If I understand correct, Nuri and listeners of CREM, Minister Julius Espat, who is trained in that particular discipline, which is that you can cost, C-O-S-T, the amount of materials and monies that goes into building any particular type of building. So many piles, so much money per pile, so many sacks of cement, so much steel, so much glass, so much. Everything is costed, and the labor. And I stand corrected, but Minister Julius Espat has said more than once that building could not cost $27 million.
Yeah.
That is a crime.
Yeah.
Somebody
and
has gone.
Also about the Social Security building in Belmapani?
Yes.
Similar comment.
Yes, but what is done? Look at the amount of things that we know. You know, who was it? I don't want to go down that road that will happen. People buy, I know a recent incident where they showed me all the thing. They buy 4 brand new tires for a government vehicle. The tires not even put on the vehicle. In previous bygone hustling and so you get a tire, you put it on, you make it look on you, you take it off and sell it. 4 brand new, not even go on the vehicle. In fact, yes, my boy, it's just, well, you know, I have a note here, maybe we get to it, but we are doing a very bad job of managing and running our country.
So who is responsible? I mean, because look, we're at the public officers level who have to go through the procurement, and he could see the hustle. And then at the top, the people who make the arrangement, who are going to find the contractors, etc., he knows that this is an overspend. Then it goes all the way up to the minister, who is an architect, and understands that that should not cost that. Is it just for public consumption to say, why that no cost that, and you don't do any going back all the way through, do the due diligence to find out exactly who gone with the money?
Excellent question.
And pretty much that's what was done
during
Booth's time, yeah, with that $8 million that they wrote.
Yeah.
So when are we going to, and what police, as you're rightly saying, investigates the crimes them at the base.
Yeah.
It's very sexy to say we got this, but how about the man there with the ride around?
Well, let's deal with that one there first and then go to the more complicated. The history of our country is that we just came out of colonial management and control. One, when we received our self-government, meaning we now start to govern ourselves in the 60s. When we just the guess of government, Jamaica, Trinidad, and then done independent.
Yeah.
So we had that. I don't want to use big words like gestation and all that thing, but the long period that we could have got no independence, but Guatemala kept saying publicly and threatening that the minute the British leave, they'll come and take back the land. That delayed us, but it also had a psychological
Definite
effect.
psychological.
You and I are Creoles, we come from the south side of Belize City. North side of me a small thing, you know, all in place where the valuable thing that we just swamp.
They just come up in
They
the
just
last
come up the
20
other
years.
day.
Yeah.
But we're all one people. So that period there, and coming out of that, the police department was simply the colonial guardians of the British. Strict law and order. When you got up, there were hardly many murders because the society was small.
Very
all of we
strict.
poor,
Very
nobody
strict.
no want to drive no SUV. They didn't have SUV, cell phone,
Yeah.
television, all these luxuries.
In,
So-
in those days, balloon tire was the luxury. For
We had to make
ordinary
things,
rally to, yeah.
We made things. We made caparuche from cotton
Yes,
reel. I don't
yes.
think the young generation know it, a
No,
cotton
yeah,
reel.
yeah, yeah.
We made a little board truck there. We put the Colgate red thing like
Oh,
light
yeah.
on top of it. Top, we made our own top.
More creative. More
Yeah,
creative.
yeah. Kite, we make one kite.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's another world. So this world now is more complicated. We have allowed American television to invade us and take over our minds.
Yeah, but I thought that police would have, over the years, come up in terms of, man, we've
They can't.
established FIU, we've
Yeah, no.
established the investigation into this new law that, you know, we want your
Well,
show.
that building is right there. FIU has investigated that.
And,
A qualified person has come publicly. We don't come public, you know. Qualified people don't say anything, you know.
Yeah,
they talk at their social events and all in things. And I say nothing out there, you know.
yeah, yeah.
A man who is now a minister of government has said there's no way that could cost 27.
Yeah.
Now I stand corrected on another matter. It is said all that money there was either a loan or a gift from Taiwan.
Right.
You know, poor Taiwan, they are trying to buy support in the world.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Less and less countries are supporting them. So Taiwan either gave or loaned that money. It is being said by some public officers that money did not go into the central bank, did not go into the treasury of the nation, that went straight to private places.
Wow.
So we are doing a very disservice to the future generations of our country because we are not managing the resources and the country.
Yeah.
No, you have asked some questions. The police is not made up to go in and investigate that type of thing. That calls for accountants, for forensic auditors,
Yeah,
for
clearly.
person. And the government don't want to spend money on that. The government doesn't spend money on enough regular investigators, the CIB.
Yeah.
People like me who interact with them, so like the other day, they don't have no air conditioning and they work the Queen Street in that terrible sun hot. They know they get an allowance, they know they get, we really know they do it, you know. Yeah? So, but so-called white collar crime is complicated. And the people with brains who they pull it off, they think long ahead of time and they do that thing. Was white collar crime involved in when we paid Mr. Ashcroft $500 million? Which lawyers got the legal fees? How come? Why wasn't the government lawyers who are trained in a straightforward matter that justice sit down and work out one contract?
Why would you outsource something that we can do?
Yeah, yeah. And that has happened again with the listen of all the persons, the former prime minister of this nation. Whatever they think about him, who is damaged and dismantled all the protective institutions that are there to help the society, put people who are just political flunkies, they will do nothing, say nothing, you know, they say, oh, same old, same old. He come public to say that at the Port Authority, they had offered to sell it to government already for some $40 or $60 million. We buy it for $198 million. Who are the people who sat in that meeting? How many $1 million did they get if they got? Why we do that? It's just to sit down and say, that no cost that. You they offer so much, I'm offering so much. Just a little mediation, my boy. I don't like you don't need the highest levels of technical, legal skills for getting them and things like sell one whole port. Don't you have a picture of the port there? That's just one old pair, you know, that one old pair with some.
You will.
So, all right,
but
so
if you got a man like Geg, who did come out at the Senate hearing and say, look, they came and they try to get money from, isn't that enough for you to say, all right, we've got some evidence here.
Yes.
Make we start to move.
Yes.
But it just become a blip and then it gone.
All right, so finally let me say this because I want to mention...
Mind you know, I'm
Yeah.
asking you because you would have fished from River Bottom, you sat in a
But
cabinet.
everybody blow, everybody
No, I don't know, you don't gotta like all these.
You see this river where they are? The river is muddy and murky.
I don't know why you get away for that. You
hold on, let us say
actually,
this.
no, you had an actual position
Yes.
where, and I need to give you kudos, but at the same time, it is a criticism.
Yes.
You understand the base of the pyramid,
Yes.
but you also understand what goes on in the boardroom, which is
Yeah,
a
that's why I'm
cabinet
speaking
room.
like this. But don't think I don't punish for this. The other day we were talking.
Yeah.
Knowing you and your viewers and these people don't know what me and my family go through.
I can
because
imagine.
I can't zip up when I live, and but I said zip it.
Yeah, you can't.
Pocket it.
You can't.
Because it's hard, okay?
Yeah.
So, you know.
And they will persecute you.
Yes,
and they
that's
know
fine.
how to do it. Yeah, they know how to do
But
it.
I want to say this because we were discussing this recently. First, I want to give you're giving kudos to me and thank you. I want to give big kudos to the financial secretary.
You mean Mr. Wade?
Yes, the
Boy.
man, he's a gentleman, a
Joseph,
humble man, man.
Very humble. I talked to him last
Man.
week. Beautiful brother.
He has
and consistent.
yeah, I'm talking decades.
And not hustler.
No man, you know, interested in other part that he has inherited some of George Price genes.
Yes, I see it.
We grew up in a house, George Price got millions of dollars hiding in Switzerland, George Price, the chick on George Price, just like, why?
Yeah.
So, but let me end with saying that.
Well, we know how to kill you with our mouth, you know.
Sure.
And we know how to continue.
That is
I
what
know.
we're good. That's what
They
we're
put
good
you in a kind of a straight jacket and it's all just culture.
Look at you, why aren't you in charge of this whole
That's
program
just
and so you're
culture.
not?
It's just
They
culture.
just need you and they come to you, you know? But let me just make
Anyway,
this point and we will go on to other matters. I have said it, I want to say it again. Big respect to you, Nuri, for the work you do. It's not an easy work how people could think. You know, the man, they listen, they're not like everybody gone and no high school, you know. They don't think like me and you, you know. They think it's the wild, wild west. So it is a very good job, and I know Minister Karim really, really respects the work that you all are doing. And his new CEO, oh man, a lot of good things is happening with Ms. Sharul Saldivar. She is by functions of her position as the new Chief Executive Officer in the Ministry of Home Affairs. She is the chairperson for the parole board.
Right.
It is the law in this country that when you have been found guilty and sentenced to jail, which is a terrible thing, you know, to go to jail, people think, what? No, listen, what you have, when you go to jail, you are broken.
Once you go in there and
Yes.
slam that door there, it's a 1 week.
And then there's no oversight, no nothing,
Yeah.
they live on their own. So what, as the chairperson of the parole board, I am now hearing prisoners having a little hope that there's an opportunity
Yes.
for them to be
Yes.
considered.
Yes.
A prisoner must spend at least 50% of his time to be considered, to be eligible. Let's not use that word, to be available, to be considered that you can be granted parole. That is so important because people must know you get a chance, you know, and you reach your parole conditions, and so you're back in to spend your full time. But I wanted to ask the administrator, that the poor minister is so busy he can't do everything. And big respect, is it true that they say some poll that they had said that Karim is the most popular politician next to Johnny Bissey? No, you've seen that or heard that?
Well, I've heard it.
Okay,
You know.
why big respect, Karim? That's not an easy thing
Not at all.
in a cynical society.
Very cynical,
Yes,
my brother.
very cynical.
Very cynical. But
So-
but
I wanted-
I just wanted to say, because, you know, I work directly with him.
Yes, you
and
meet him
really
in one
through-
capacity, no? In one-
Yeah, in one
You
capacity.
can't tell the minister, please make them change 60 grams of weed to about 100 grams to be drug trafficking. All the people that get charged with drug trafficking
I
are
think
waste
what
of
is
time.
happening there is that there is a difference in how the police is approaching that law.
Yeah, but the
and
police
how the
don't run
government
the
is-
country, we don't vote for them.
Yeah, but you know,
Yeah, we know,
so,
man,
but it goes back to the cabinet. They need to make the clarification and they have not done it. And it does rest with Karim Musa because it is his ministry.
A tourist come to Belize.
Yeah.
We want all the tourists we can get,
Yeah.
especially the overnights, because the one up on the ship don't have time. They just
Yeah.
run see the baboon, they're not happy with them, they don't move, you know. Baboon, they fold their arm and they take their tail and they wrap it tight. And no, they do no performance today. But the overnight spend
I
more
more
money.
hole for you.
Nothing. When I say they got feelings. So A tourist comes to our country.
Yeah.
She or he there is arrested for 11 grams of marijuana.
It's
Come
ridiculous.
on, man. There's
Yeah.
nobody with no
And
sense in the police.
and insult you and embarrass you.
And got you
And
all
everybody
over the
send you
internet.
all over the
Yes, you're a
internet.
criminal, you're a criminal.
And you come from a place
Where
where
there are
you
no
brought
problem.
it was legal.
Yes, but
Yeah.
even so, listen.
Yeah.
Poor thing, they don't know better. Maybe we need to put up a sign. If
You
you
know.
go to court and you want to challenge it, take the weed out of the file or the plastic. I bet you they know 11 grams.
Yeah.
And the law is 10 grams.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on, man, there must be a thing called discretion.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm glad the commissioner has said we need the police departments, the sergeants, whoever in charge of the various stations, use the cojones, and when somebody is charged for something, get a station bail. No man, we got people locked up in
yeah,
there.
yeah.
You know,
Ridiculous,
so you see one lady, people, they want a big word, break.
Yeah.
I don't know, I must break my conversation. Say the thing mean. So let me say again, Joseph Waite, big respect.
Yes.
But we now need in the new administration that's coming, because as you said, we'll talk a little bit about the election,
We
because
will.
the time is almost over and I'm gone.
Yeah.
All right, you'll do the break because the break
We
is
have
the
to do the
longest
break, and people need to understand. And I say, boy, I knew you only could talk. I meet my match. So let's take our break. Attorney at law, Dickie Bradley, an icon on his own because he's been involved in so much. No, Dickie, let's not take it away from you.
You make a gay girl, man, I'm a handful. I don't need no pressure. I don't need no more pressure. Icon.
No,
I can.
This is a brother who has really, he's kept his connection with roots, and it's important to have him come back here every so often and give us his idea of some of what is going on. So listen, I go back again now international. Mr. Trump has given some ideas that
President Trump.
yeah, and some people are with his ideas and some people are against his ideas. For example, I've heard a lot of people say, boy, I don't like Trump, but I like his position that he's taken on there's only two genders. I like the position he's taken that
That's one of the
he's
reasons
going-
he got elected.
Yeah, I think a significant amount of people said, I held my nose, but I say compared to what was America's direction and where he looked as though he want to abruptly change, for that reason I voted for him. But then with all the other agenda items now, I got a real concern that I put this man in there and he's got it for 4 years. With the attorney that was with us earlier, I mentioned the fact that we have heard Mr. Rubio going to El Salvador. He's gone to Maduro in Venezuela. This morning, Sandra told me that he also went to Costa Rica and Dominican Republic, all in trying to work out immigration arrangements to fly planes back there. But one of the things I read yesterday is that he's making arrangement for U.S. prisoners to be taken out of U.S. prisons and taken into other jurisdictions. And the one that I read yesterday was from Bukele in Salvador, who is saying, I will take not only Salvadorians that you're sending back, but if you want to send some of your prisoners, we have enough room for them likewise. I don't know if you've heard it.
I read it.
All right, so what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think a criminal like Bukele has pulled off a master stroke with a convicted man who is the president in America, because Trump has been convicted.
He's a felon, indeed.
So it's a brilliant move from Bukele's standpoint, because Bukele is violating he's violating human rights of his citizens.
Yes, and he's
in
on the
some very
investigation, by
serious
the way. Yeah, he's on the
That mean nothing
investigation.
today, because
Yeah.
after they left there, they're going to live down in Miami and live happily ever after.
boy, yeah.
But that brilliant move, because it means he and Trump, they're on the same wavelength. So he no face no problem that America will cut aid, that America will expose what he has done. Because I think I
Good
mentioned
point,
to
very
you,
good point.
I think I mentioned to you that in Belize, we literally picked up and put in prison for 90 days people that had nothing to do with no gun. I hope when they do sue, please don't go sue. No come to me, you go sue with any other liar and take it to high so that you get some big money. The only way you want to stop chance from taking off a poor people You can't pick up somebody and put them in a jail 90 days. Man, that don't like Bukele, that mini-me Bukele. That is not the country we want. You know the hatred in somebody's hearts.
Yeah.
So I say that because Bukele has made a brilliant move. He have the most powerful man on the planet on his side. You will not hear nothing about that from CNN and MSBC and that. And so Bukele, that's the kind of guy we need down there in those, what you say, what you call it, shithole countries. That's how they think. How can you be the president of the United States of America, the shiny city on the hill, the beacon of hope and freedom? How can you be that and say that clean out Gaza? Clean out.
Put it into a Riviera.
We not do that.
Riviera.
We don't do that with our stray dog.
Yeah.
Clean out. And
Yeah.
guess what? So that they could have a tourist resort. So that presumably, allegedly, his family can start to sell all in fabulous beachfront.
Well,
But how you could say that in the world? How you could say that? These people literally have been under the dominion of the Israelis, who have satisfied everybody that you can't be more brutal than that.
Yeah.
You can't. In fact, the International Criminal Court has put out a warrant for the arrest of Netanyahu.
Indeed.
And they should arrest Joe Biden too.
Yes, sir.
And Kamala Harris as vice president,
yes,
because
sir.
she did not resign when they
In
started
law,
to
what
give
do you call
billions of dollars, billions of dollars.
Yeah. What do you call it in law when you are associated with
Aiding and abetting.
aiding and
abetment,
abetting,
yeah.
and you can be just as guilty as the person who did it.
Of course,
you
with
know?
the right then,
But listen, let me ask
So, man, we're not there with
you
that.
this because of our time.
Yeah. The repercussions.
But this is the one, and I want to paint this scenario to you because it's very real. I've been thinking about it the last couple of days. The South Africans have taken the Israelis to court at the ICJ. They have advanced the case of making sure that, look, the world will not forget that this is genocide.
Yeah.
South Africa has been joined by several other nations. I think about 10 nations.
Small.
And Belize recently joined that group,
Yes.
the Hague group. Yeah. And have been a very profound, and thank you, Dean Flowers, for sending me the detail of that pronouncement. Here's my point. When our ambassador, Assad Shuman, was making his points on joining the South
legal
African,
action, no?
Yeah, the legal action by the South Africans. He never played to highlight the US and the UK. Even though, of course, it's Israel, he did not play with the United States being not only culprit, but actual guilty as the Israelis in what went on in the Gaza.
But that is clear, you know.
Clear. Now, here's my question to you. With this man, Mr. Trump, being as sensitive as he is, and deciding that, guess what? I'm offended by what Mr. Assad has done.
We're in trouble.
And I am looking at you Belizeans here. I haven't heard any one of you criticizing him. Is that the way you are thinking, Belizeans, in regards to our situation here? I'll put some sanction on. And so therefore, could we be looking at Mr. Trump deciding, based on what was done, and it was a courageous move on the part of Assad, sanctions coming from the Americans because of the position taken by our own diplomat?
Yes, we need to walk a very, very tight rope in relation to that matter. President Biden had started to put sanctions on the International Criminal Court members for daring to look into whether or not genocide is going on in Gaza, and who are responsible should be made to answer. America started to sanction it. America has not joined the International Criminal Court. I wonder why.
Why? And that's been over many years.
When Trump came along, Trump just in office like 2.5 weeks, you know, 2.5 weeks out of 4 years, he renewed and increased the sanctions on the persons in the court. That is like a government, they tell for we chief justice and chief magistrate and for we judges and whatnot, I'm not happy want to make a decision and a deal, you don't know.
Sanction them.
Because we have had a prime minister not so long, we cuss up the judge then when they go against him. You imagine that?
Yeah.
So, listen, this is a very, very serious matter here because we have a claim by our next door neighbor who is the best friend of Israel. They are the only two that did not support we ever getting our independence. Let's understand Guatemala and Israel, then us and Chemba part. And you see how Bukele they bow down because he know he have, they one crosser, they have lots of violations that they have done to their people and are doing to their people. They have slaughtered over 200,000
That's right.
Maya, indigenous people and regular other citizens of their country in the longest civil war in our region. So, when I heard and when they showed snippet on Al Jazeera of the new president of the United States of America, a country we grew up in love with America. You know how much of my brethren then left high school for go to States because that is the land of milk and honey. And anytime they do get a chance to come and visit, remember they used to drive out all these pretty big vans and come and get gal and tell we all in story. Oh, well, I'm an assistant to so and so. Oh, I'm in charge of a thing. You know the gas station and the man tell you a thing and the manager. You know, when they sweep out the gas station, you know, but they not come back and tell you that. And respect too, then they try and make it, yeah. But my point is that we love the United States of America. We can't believe that. So you wind me up with something.
Yes.
It is clear in this world where white people are. The white tribes in Europe, Britain, and in the United States of America and Canada sat back and watched Netanyahu, who is wanted for criminal allegations against him in that country. The minute he is no longer prime minister, he be going to court to defend himself. They gave monies to that man's government. They gave bombs and weapons of destruction while he undertook a mass slaughter. Do you know that they have finally said, I had sent you a thing some time ago, they finally admitted now that it is 60,000 to 70,000 persons who have been killed, my boy. Over 100,000 have been injured with that man. Listen, he they tell you, come out of the north of your own country, get out of northern Gaza, and he bomb and bomb and he bomb school, he bomb church, he bomb hospital, refugee camp, residential areas. The street then, they can't go back, they want to go back to their country, they have to walk in the sand, they go and dig up and bulldoze up. Man, what kind of, that is like Nazi behavior. And the sad thing about belief, because of this link between the evangelical churches in America who use Jesus' name for hustle money, a lot of them, in the name of Jesus, use this special kind of oil, use this, when you got some water, we have to use it. I want to send it to you free, not get your address, because after that, Jesus wants you to donate. Jesus wants you to. So, this is a very serious thing. If he can say those things, if he can say, Panama Canal, they charge me too much money, I will have to get that canal now. Because Jimmy Carter don't a fool for giving it back on the own, I will take it back. Then they tell Greenland, and they tell a lie to the world that the people of Greenland want to be Americans, you know.
That's a lie.
They tell them, sell me the thing, I don't want to have to use the truth to go take it. Said Greenland have minerals. If he can do all those things, and we are in court with Guatemala, who is very good friend to him, you think you could tell him, go ahead and hold on to Toledo?
Yeah.
You tell him, already done got Sassoon already,
Yeah.
keep it.
Or if we end up with a situation where the Guatemalans again begin to get
really
aggressive,
antsy.
yeah, and provoke us into an international situation.
Yeah.
How many of us will say, boy, Assad gonna start this thing, man, run with
do that,
you see where you bring power, we, etc.
Yeah, we do that.
Boy.
No, we need to walk a tightrope because the world has changed.
Yeah.
The white people in the world has shown no wonder slavery gone on for so much hundred of years. They don't got no why how these Christians operate like this.
No.
You to kill innocent people over and over. 1 year a man to kill them people.
Yeah.
Guess what? He has not destroyed Hamas. He has created more Hamas.
Exactly. Yeah.
America give billions of dollars. Even Joe Biden who he business in a jail.
Yeah.
When he do, even he stopped getting one certain bomb, the 2,000-pound bomb. Then he stopped that because then they use it for civilians.
Yes.
Trump already tell the military getting people in bomb. They don't send it to them already.
I'll give you one last area because of the time, and I said it's very, very important because we touched on this when you were here the last time also. The influence of social media, which has been taken for granted. Why? Because it has so much good to it. You could get a whole lot of information.
Good and bad in everything.
Man, it's got,
everything.
you know, well, some people refer to it as the tree in the garden of Eden because it has knowledge of good and knowledge of evil, you know. So the point is that many societies are recognizing now, China long ago, you can't just take internet in China like that. They got it blocked. There are many other countries that have also done it. Now, a Western country that did it just 2 months ago was Australia. If you are under 16 years old, you cannot get access to social media because they're trying to protect their children. Last night, I read that in UK, they're about to do
the British review it.
Yeah, they are about to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So, what do you think when you see these major countries? The United States is not going to do it. They were playing around with the TikTok. Not really because they're trying to protect the mind. It's kind of China and the military.
Comes from China.
But protecting your generation because you recognize that a certain kind of cultural orientation is coming off of social media. So you don't want to do it because you're a developing country. But here you have a first world country, Australia. And now UK about to do it. Do you think that that will influence social media use in developing countries?
No, because I think that Pandora's box has been opened. You know the fairy tale of Pandora's box. That is why disease and wickedness and evil and so has come. Because once you open the box and they fly out, you can't get them back in. Because remember now, the technology is advancing so rapidly that look what happened to the stock market in the United States of America 2 weeks ago, like gone down by billions. I think $600 billion they lost. Yeah. Because they are investing huge amount of monies in this artificial intelligence world that is upon us. Right. And
here comes the Chinese.
One teacher or students in China, they bring out DeepSeek. Yeah. Feel like $5 million.
Yes,
The people spend billions. And then man, they come. No, then try to say, well, maybe they borrow some of we. Look, sure. To borrow ideas. Sure. So the technology, they say man smarter than man, you know. Anything where you could come up with, you could come up with something better than that. Yeah. You see? Yeah. It's like the rat then. There's no way, like, look here, what kind of trap you make for rat. Soon as you kill some of them, the other one, they come and check it out. And so this is the way to deal with that. Don't come to eat the coconut, you fly past and snatch that.
We will find the cheese.
So there is no turning back, Nuri. So that is an unfortunate thing. But since time is against us, allow me to say this. I was hoping we could talk about the general election that is not far.
We still have a minute.
And also about the crisis in the official opposition. I want to say this, I want to say this to my brother Shine Barrow. Man, like, I used to read about you in Vibes magazine, in the hip hop magazines, and so many years ago. We met by Douglas Jones Street when Crispin Jeffries was commissioner, introduced me to Shine when he was still a Jew. And he ended up living in my neighborhood that I live in, his neighborhood. He used to go swim every morning right by the park out in Buttonwood Bay, and we end up talking and so on and so. I want to say to you, my brother, that I have looked and I have read and have not come across any bird that is flying around with only one wing. And by that I mean that our system in belief, the constitutional order of things, there has to be a party in power and a party in opposition, or some parties in opposition. And the opposition has to have brilliant people and be able to expose wrongdoings by the government. The government is not a handful of angels come from heaven. They are human beings like all of us. They make mistakes, they do wrong things. Some of them, they hustle, all kind of things. We need an opposition in beliefs the worst kind of way. You know, fair for Nuri and Jules and Rufus and the union leaders and them to try and step into the shoes of the opposition is paid by our taxes to look at everything the government is doing and to tell us they're not doing the right way. There is a hustling at this and there is an abusing at this.
What
So
is
let me just say this.
I want to know what prevents
I'm finished
it.
right now.
Yeah.
I want to humble myself and beg you personally, Shine Barrow, to say to Tracy, to reach out to Tracy. And Tracy, I know you're from the league guy. You live in Albert's way back. Know your mom, know your dad. Like, what is involved in this matter is bigger than on a UDP quarrel. It is bigger than PUP that a rival. This is the country at stake. We're in trouble, man.
Yeah.
The inside of the society is in trouble. We are in trouble. The things we come, we don't have the time for it anymore. We are just like, I watch the amazing Creole people who are the great-grandchildren and slaves, how they have survived, but then the struggle just see things rough out there. And it's going to get worse because the world has changed. You got one person who, he don't read nothing, he don't got no attention span. He can't even handle TikTok. He doesn't have time for that. We need an opposition that is functioning. And listen, can I share this with you? Mr. Johnny Briceño, who is not a bourgeoisie, who is a humble person, who has been the Prime Minister of this country and said something when nobody ever said, I'm not interested in a third term. I'm sure his advisors and supporters, when he get close to that and tell you, please, Johnny, we need you just this last time.
Hold it together, yeah.
But he has said that. But guess what? Johnny Briceño can also be advised that, you know what, you can go down in history. You can go down in history, Johnny, because you could win 31 seats. They could take the enormous resources and focus on the 4.5 seats where the opposition got. 4.25. They got a seat where, how could the people go, you know? They could focus attention on why, if you all go to election divided, the PUP is going to sweep completely. The PUP is in no danger of losing no seat right now, which is a big tribute to Johnny and his team.
It is.
In the 4 years, they have not done enough to make us riled up against them. That, boy, we have to get that. Them man let the sail clear. Big respect, Johnny. Big respect, Cordell. Big respect to all of you. But the country needs to have a formal, functioning, effective opposition. Because this business are going to meetings in the House of Representatives once a month, that's not a cut it in of a free country. Look how crime has ballooned out under the last government. 140 odd people get murdered, 130 odd people are being murdered, you know. Nuri, you were actually part of the gun amnesty, the most successful one with Lascelles and Lionel and Darrell and Nature.
Yes.
Over 100 guns were taken off the street. Yeah. And the Mandala newspaper, which is not as vigilant and is not as, I don't know if the word, it's clearly not ferocious, but it's not the Mandala you and I know. The editorials, they're mild, they're not, because the government is not overdoing yet, but listen, the Mandala newspaper over a year ago offered and solicited advice in an editorial to say the little housing project that the government is financing is an important matter. You should see the joy to the family if you go in a daily box. This small little house is really, really small, you know.
Yeah,
but it better than no house.
No house at all.
So Mandela has said, Mandela is not against you, no that. Mandela has said you are sitting and over 1,000 people in prison. Them man could shovel cement, they could bend steel, they could put up their house.
Absolutely, brother.
At no cost in terms of labor and the government buy material duty free. We need 1,000 houses every year to deal with this housing crisis, man.
And the reason why Spot is talking about that enormous cost of that building because of your finance and you pay. So,
all right, I'm leaving you, so let me get this in.
Please.
It won't be long like
that.
Get
it in, brother.
Yeah, first of all, I want to big up Justice Antoinette Moore. She is going to leave in a couple months.
Oh, is that right?
We love you, Judge Moore. I want you to know that you have touched our hearts. I remember you making a submission in front of the judge, and she was so attentive to
Yes,
what you said and took it into
Yes,
consideration.
man. Yes.
We-
no.
we are
She's a
going-
superwoman, man.
Yes, you make I want to retire when you left.
Yes,
because,
man, superwoman.
There is no judge with a heart like yours.
Yeah.
You have
Do you know
given
that she
judgment.
used to talk about pro bono? A
Oh,
lot
yes,
of them
ma'am,
people
yes,
wrong
ma'am,
here,
yes,
they
ma'am.
say about pro. That is a sister that used to take cases pro bono and win.
Yes.
And she was such a humble person,
Always,
not tighty to
always.
walk around with this and long nail and thing like. You wouldn't even know she's an attorney.
Pro bono is a Latin word. It means for free.
Maybe for free, for free.
We are going to miss you, I
Oh,
tell
man,
you, man.
man,
Please,
man.
I don't know if there's any way you can stay at least another 2 years,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
And then big respect to the new Belizean Chief Magistrate.
Uh-huh.
There's a young lady from up north.
Yes.
She's one of us. They have the name of the great Lindy Rogers.
Yes.
So, Miss Deborah Rogers, congratulations on breaking that Gaza situation. We now have a Belizean Chief Magistrate. She has a master's degree, you know.
Yes.
mean, these are people who serve their country, man.
So-
Every day, then they in a court, they listen to a lot of bull.
Yeah.
Speaking of masters, one of my colleagues, Lyndon Jones, an attorney, has 2 master's degrees. He has a doctorate. Yes, and the other day he was introducing me because 3 Trinidad lawyers have come here to assist a person in sensational triple murder or quadruple murder. So let me just welcome them. Nehanda Samuels, Peter Taylor, and Eustace Warner, all the way from Trinidad. Maybe you could have them in one morning.
Yeah. I
so
was
we
thinking
could
of
learn
trying to get
something
this
about-
around Logan, but one of the appellants, Brother Jerry Enriquez, will
Yeah.
join us tomorrow to talk about
Excellent,
the case.
excellent. Make a point about that though.
Yeah.
They can tell you the Prime Minister will not announce the thing in the House Friday. I don't mean say you can announce it Saturday. Who said you have to announce it in the House?
Exactly.
Yeah, I get
Exactly. It's not
Yeah, but elections are going to come, the PUP going to win, they will win big. That is
Yeah,
just a fact of life
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So I wanted to say that about Justice Moore, that I will travel all the way to Dangriga and I will personally ask permission to go into her court or her chambers and tell her on behalf of all of us who have
Yes.
had the wonderful privilege of meeting you, of seeing you sat and listen to all these boring cases, which
Yeah.
is the procedure in the courts, and to make the best decision. And we are all satisfied that you have handed down justice in
absolutely.
your court.
Absolutely.
And she was a great advocate for the Mayas when they were
Oh
fighting
man,
for
look
their
at-
for
she
their
was
election.
one of the main
Yeah.
advocates. Absolutely. This
Yeah.
is a phenomenal woman. But you know, again, in Belize, I said it many years ago. We know tip and we know clap. No, we got a Chetomalan tip, but with we know tip. We know encourage you. And we don't clap.
We don't got money for tip.
We don't clap. We don't clap. We used to watch Sting Grab, the Bliss Institute. Now we do it. But I recognize a long time ago, we restrain from telling
Have a
you you're
different
doing
culture.
a great job.
Yeah, we can't
We say,
we can't thank people. And,
yeah,
and-
you're
and
doing a great job, Miss
appreciate-
Moore. We appreciated you, and not just with accolades, but
No,
really
man, no,
genuinely
yeah, she's
care
real.
for
She's
you. Yeah,
real.
she's a
Yeah.
real
In another
sister.
society, she would make millions of
Absolutely,
dollars on the talk show
absolutely.
circuit,
Yeah.
book all kind of book deals and so on.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
You are a one of a kind. You're
Yeah.
a fabulous human being.
Yes.
And we are proud that you have come.
We don't have enough time,
be
but
around. Yeah, we don't.
here's what I was going. We got to get out of here. But in 1993, the opposition UDP was also split.
Not like this.
Boy, it wasn't
like this.
because this one now an ego thing. That one was a
No
policy
matter.
thing.
The split is
Yeah,
something not this.
yeah,
one.
but why?
Mr. Golson, big respect to Golson.
Yeah.
Golson walked out of UDP.
Yes.
Supported by Derek Aikman,
Yes.
Hubert Elrington,
Right, and
Sam
Mr. Rayburn
Rayburn,
and all of them.
Pantin.
Yes.
Because the UDP was hell-bent on following
Maritime
America
areas.
and Britain.
Yeah.
That we are going to allow Guatemala free access into a big chunk of our sea.
Yes. So it was a principle, it was a policy of the division. This
Yeah.
one here doesn't appear to be policy.
Personality.
It's a lot of ego clashing, right?
Yeah.
But I wondered whether or not, the thing, if you remember, that brought the UDP back together very solid
Is the announcement
is
of the election?
no, the announcement of the election, but the announcement of the British timing,
Leaving? Yeah, well,
saying that they left.
But that was after
And
the election was announced.
But Mr. Golson built on that because our fear was still with Guatemala. Go back and look at it, because I did.
No, I was there.
And that man, yeah, he really, at that period of time, did something that was unusual. It wasn't Esquivel as much as it was Mr. Golson deciding to bring back the NABR into the UDP, and they won the election as though it was slim. So the question is there anything on the horizon, maybe Trump, that can create a scenario that can speedily bring the opposition together to maybe win more than 2 or 3 seats? Nothing. Nothing that can, not even coming from Mr. Trump.
Personality conflicts are the worst kind.
It's an ego. It's an
I
ego.
don't think it's ego.
Well, what about those who are saying, shine, stand down, your age, you still have time, and then give history a chance for a woman for the first time to be in a position to become a prime minister? You think his ego can handle that?
But they not win. So that no hold water. If the party may win, you could say what Tony Blair and Gordon did in the UK.
Right.
Tony Blair was extremely popular.
Yes.
Win the first one, gone for the second one, getting ready to go to the tournament. May you have an agreement, my boy? You going in, and then after you, I going in, and Blair decided, boy, I don't give this up right now, man. Turn out to be a war criminal, you know, Tony Blair.
Anyway.
No, but personality.
That's the problem.
When you start to talk about me and I talk about you, and it gets worse, and so if they could have been fighting me and throw blows. There's no
But
principle.
somebody needs to back down, and I'm not
well,
sure.
Well, let me say this, Nuri, thanks for bringing that up. In other democracies, right here in Jamaica, in the UK, all over the world and so, the parties have, like say, we still have Dean Barrow with us. We don't have Dean Lindo, we don't have Esquivel, but we have Dean Barrow. Dean Barrow, the brains, you know. Yeah, big respect, Dean, the brains. And the money read a lot. You have to read. Let's get that in our head.
Man.
They don't have anyone who they could sit with, who they respect and are prepared to be advised.
No elders then.
There are no elders in that.
Wow.
These are like, you ever watch Honey?
Yeah, no.
When they want to get a hand,
Yeah.
They must detect some straight kind of buffering, what the thing there. But that is our problem here. We don't have nobody who could say. And by the way, you know, I'm very disappointed. The media is pretending that there's not a problem. You can't have a country without an opposition, man. This is a very serious destruction at the worst time.
Yeah.
Why? Because America is admitting that inflation is a big issue. We know what inflation means.
Yes.
It means we can't buy things.
Everything going up.
We should actually, in fact, with election imminent, a draft manifesto should be circulated so we know what the new government will be focused attention on. We must have backyard gardening. We must start to eat where we grow and grow where we eat.
Which takes you to the PCC.
Oh man, that's a peeve. You're good, you know, that's why you are the icon.
That's the last point here, man. The PCC promises us that all the things we've been complaining about for the last 20 years since the reform recommendations came from Dylan Vernon, that we're going to finally fix this. You were a part of it early, you're no longer there.
Yeah.
I've spoke to the chairman who told me that in fact they have been making some presentations, but they're still not coming to the media and saying this is what we came up with. So now we're going to go into this coming election without no redistricting, no recommendations from this PCC so that we could have a referendum to accept
some commitment from the...
Nothing is there.
Yeah.
Nothing is there. Yeah. So last comment, sir, on the PCC.
Why are you that to me? Well, the PCC is a force that is spent.
Oh, wow.
That is water under the bridge, no?
No wind in the sail?
No. Yeah. At least you could make a, you know, I don't know if your camera could pick that up. They're not fighting any kind of wave and whatnot, but they have succeeded in getting some wind in the sail. If there's no wind in the sail, they stay right in the water. You know? No, we have lost. There is. Let me end like this. I'm trying not to say anything more, because you just make enemies, which no mean at this stage in my life it means nothing to me. God has been good to me.
Precisely.
Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, sir.
I would say that, you know, more important, elections come and go. You know? But I would say that we believe, I don't know if I blame the media or blame the university, blame all of us who get the education and have not done enough, but improving your constitution is part of the core of having a good society. The reason why one could try fight for redistricting is because the constitution says each constituency should be about roughly equal. Because the constitution says it. So this was a golden, platinum, uranium opportunity from a poor, backward, confused society to have made some major improvements as to how we are governed, how we are protect the money and the land. We have nothing except our taxes and our land. This was an opportunity lost. There's a poem, took me years to read it, and Paradise Lost by John Milton. That's where we are.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Nuri, thank you very much for inviting me. There are so many things we could cover, but life is real. Life is real, and time is always tight.
there. Yeah.
In your time, I had a song, time is tight, no?
We thank you very much, my brother. And the thing is, you know, can we call him a serial guest? Like that?
No, that's serial word, I'm for you. No, regular is all right. Regular is all right.
So, yeah, the crazy people have taken over serial. So,
Yeah.
no, we appreciate your being here,
Anytime.
my brother. And I also want to thank you. We've invited Brother Dickie, because he's a reality talker and reasoner, to come and reason with these brothers that we're working with. And he has never neglected the opportunity to come and to speak with those youths at the base. So it's not just what is being done by myself and Footy, but we also have help that comes from brothers like Brother Dickie, Bradley, and others. So we thank you, brother, for the work that you do in the courts, in the community, and just as being a voice of reason in the community.